And we are live on YouTube at the World of Pets podcast. We are a channel that is dedicated to pet and human health and wellness. We also support nonprofit shelters, veterans, and other programs out there. Tonight we have a very special interview with Alexi Bracey, and we're going to have a great interview tonight. But first, I want to get our sponsor out of the way, and that would be debspets.com, debspets.com, where you can go and find products that will help probably a lot about what we will be talking about tonight. And also, our engineer, Emily Gomer, thank you so much for what you do for us. You can find her on the World of Ability podcast on YouTube. Go give her a like, a share, and a thumbs up for sure. Without further ado, so Alexi, so you're a cancer survivor, and you're a mentor to people for wellness, for human wellness, obviously, and you are very involved in establishing and helping people establish a plant-based diet. I'll let you introduce the rest. This is going to be a great interview. This is right up my alley.
Oh, so you want me to speak? I'm sorry, I
Yeah,
misunderstood.
yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Yeah, wherever you want to take off from there.
Well, when I was diagnosed with cancer, that's when I embraced a plant-based diet. It was raw at the time. I still eat probably 50% raw, depending on the weather, because when it's minus 40 degrees, you want a warm bowl of soup, not a cold bowl of soup, so to speak. And so, diet really came into play. And I think probably at the same time, Um, I thought, well, what I eat is going to nourish my body so I can thrive. So it's the same thing about our pets. And so I started doing research and I found a book that was not available on Amazon. You could only buy it privately from the author who was in Australia, and it was Foods Pets Die For. And so the same thing, we need good nourishing food so we can survive. So it's the same thing for our pets. The cancer rate for pets now, dogs, 1 in 3 dogs and 1 in 6 cats will be getting cancer. And besides the environmental toxins, is definitely the food, the kibble, the canned, the processed. It's all um, roadkill, euthanized animals, um, beaks from poultry and feet. I used to teach classes, and I had students that used to work in butcher shops told me this firsthand, that that was what goes into ground meat and ultimately made into kibble. So, our pets are dying because we're not feeding them good food. It's a toxic environment just like we live in. So, across the board, and the same thing, they're talking about, you know, bees being extinct and or other animals. Some of the animals are now extinct on the planet. And why is that? It's because the environment is so toxic. So, with my cancer journey, um, changed my diet definitely, and I got rid of the toxins in my home, the toiletries, the cleaning products. And right now, to compound the problem, is even worse, is microplastics.
Yeah.
And so, touching on microplastics, the same applies to our pets. Most people don't realize when I go into a pet shop, I'm just appalled because it's just a haven for toxic food and toxic toys and sleeping beds for pets, because they're all sprayed with chemicals or made with toxic chemical material. Um, the one toy that everybody gives their pets, their dog, is probably the worst thing on the planet, which is a tennis ball. A
Yeah.
tennis ball is for playing tennis, not for a dog to chew on because of the chemicals on it. And then all the selection of toys you buy for your pets, so many of them, most of them have some kind of chemicals in it, whether it's the material or what they're sprayed with or whatever, and people have no idea. So my dogs have been, I've had 6 dogs over the last 30 years, and they've always been on a raw food diet. And, I supplement as well, and they don't sleep in dog beds because they're toxic. Their toys are certainly healthy, and the treats I give them are healthy too, just like the treats for myself is not going to be a cup of coffee at your favorite coffee shop.
Right.
because they're lined with polyethylene, which is a toxic material. And so you're ingesting that toxic material from the heat from the coffee. And,
Mm.
the top lid on the coffee cup, there's a little perforation. You can lift it so you can drink through that. Well, the lid is plastic, so you're ingesting plastic there too. So our pets, ourselves, we're just surrounded by toxins. So it's about being aware. And so, I've really made it my mandate. I'm a healthy home inspector, so I go into people's homes and point out the toxins that are there that most people have no idea. Store your food in plastic, in glass, not plastic. Use um, wooden cooking utensils. Don't use non-stick, any kind of cookware.
Right.
Um, you know, the food that we,
Teflon would be the key word there. Teflon.
yes, that's
And
right.
yeah,
Exactly.
DuPont. Yeah, totally a chemical based organization.
I mean, and people don't realize the microplastics and the little things that we consume or have in our house. For example, people would never think of plastic coat hangers. They would never
Mm,
think of their toothbrush.
right.
What
Right.
about the plastics you use when you take your dog on a walk, poop and scoop? That's plastic.
Mm,
You can get you can not reusable, but you can get the material that is safe and even paper. Like even buy the paper lunch bags for crying out loud. If you don't want to
right.
invest in the other ones, but we're just surrounded by it. So whether it's our pets, whether it's ourselves, I really try to raise the awareness of people just to, you know, that's why people are getting cancer and getting sick because we're just surrounded by toxins. The air we breathe, the water we drink, the
Hmm.
food we consume, the food that and what it's stored in, and then the most toxic um, fish now, or any marine life, the most toxic is comes from the oceans because our oceans are so polluted with plastics. And people don't realize that, especially the bottom feeders, like the crayfish, the shrimp, the mussels, because the toxins tend to sink to the bottom.
Right.
So, it's about educating people to make healthy choices so they stay healthy. I've been doing some research on microplastics, and it's absolutely appalling how much plastic we cons- consume, the equivalent of one plastic credit card per week.
Oh my gosh.
It's also
No
found in
way.
chewing gum that most people don't even
Right. The
consider.
waxes and all that. Yeah.
You know, from your home. In your home, you've got the toxic, Glad sprays and scented candles. They all contain toxins. When you
Right.
bring your home, when you bring your clothes home from the cleaners, it's enclosed in plastic, confining the toxins. So always aerate it somewhere outside with the plastic cover off of it. People don't realize it, and there are healthier dry cleaners around. So just do your research because most of them are not. And the clothes are cleaned with toxins. Do you use Javex or Lysol on your floor? Those are toxic. The dog walks in with his bare feet. He licks his paws. That's why they get cancer. Or our
Right.
children, crawling on the floor. The same thing. They pick something up from the floor and lick their fingers. They're consuming toxins.
Right. Well, let's go back. I like what you brought up about the clothes. If you're taking it to a dry cleaner, whether you're even doing your laundry yourself, the fact that most detergents have these microplastics and or fiberglass, by the way. I know some big name companies actually have microfiberglass in them as well, which isn't good. That's why, hey, I did my laundry. Why am I itchy? Well, it's because it's getting into your skin. Well, let's talk about like bleach and how toxic that can be because a lot of people want whites. Oh, the only way I can get them white is with bleach. Tell me about your knowledge on that.
Well, what happened to when our grandmothers were using baking soda and vinegar and lemon juice? It worked great. And then on top of that, even worse is people put in those fleece, I don't know what you call them, those not the liquid fabric softener, but those little like
Dryer
clean,
sheets.
yeah, so it's non-cling. I haven't used it for years, and I don't have any problem with clinging my clothing clinging to me,
Yeah,
and
the static clean.
and then you're coating your clothing with the toxins emitted from that cling
Right.
free, you know.
Yeah, if you don't want to get shocked after putting on fresh clothes, just touch a doorknob. It's that simple. Discharge yourself. I mean, we're all electric, all electric beings. So carry on. I forgot you went to a part and I brought you back, but carry on with where you're going with all that.
um I don't know, I sort of lost my train of thought as well. So,
Yeah.
I focus a lot on primarily women, though not exclusively, recently diagnosed with cancer, to help them heal from the inside out. But I start first with resilience, with the
Okay.
mindset that you're going to beat it. When an athlete has a coach, he's training either for the Olympics or a basketball player or even a golfer. Their coach teaches them that mindset, those strategies to really focus and how to overcome when you have negativity creeping in. Then they teach them the skills to do what is supposed to do. So in my cancer prevention, my cancer warrior program, I teach the resilience first and foremost. So your mindset is there that I'm not going to just try it, I'm going to beat it.
Right.
It's a totally different mindset because when I was diagnosed, there was no doubt in my mind I was going to beat it. So I don't know, maybe I had the resilience gene in me already. I don't know. But it was sheer determination, and I never questioned it, and I knew I was going to do it. But not everybody has those skills. And unfortunately, everybody's going through some kind of loss, grief, trauma today, and a lot of people don't know how to handle it. Think of the kids in schools, the depression, the anxiety. Part of it is the microplastics, but they're dealing with problems with their parents at home. They lost their job, or drinking, or maybe homeless or whatever. So we need resilience skills across the board for everybody, no matter what it is, and it's not exclusive to cancer.
Right. Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. At the baseline, what would you recommend? Speaking directly to cancer, what are some of the nutrients that you're looking for to put into your diet to, either reduce the risk or possibly reverse the cause?
Well, definitely a plant-based diet. Totally support that. We don't, contrary to what people believe, well, I'm not going to give up my steak, I'm not going to give up my beef. Well, I've been on it. I've been plant-based for 27 years, and I don't think I'm going to just keel over for lack of nutrients or lack of protein anytime soon. And
Right.
you just get used to it. It's the different taste buds. And plant-based food is alive. Meat that you cook, or your steak, your chicken, whatever, it's dead nutrients. So you want as much living nutrients to put into your cells to feed them so they can thrive and survive. You
Right.
know, um, we're the only species that eats cooked meat. Animals in the wild eat plant they're vegetarians. They graze and find what is needed. There's very few that eat meat or certainly don't depend on meat.
Right.
It's just a habit we've accumulated. So definitely plant-based, organic as much as possible, because the foods that we consume are so heavily sprayed with chemicals, it sort of defeats the purpose of eating healthy food. And like anything with bread, crackers, pasta are sprayed with glyphosates, which is Roundup, the active ingredient, which has been proven to be cancer causing. So
Mm.
that's why organic is so important. The glyphosates, the pesticides, the GMOs, corn, canola, soy, cottonseed, those oils, you stay away from them because they're genetically modified. So it's all about educating.
Yeah, I agree. And speaking of the water, and when people think tap water is cool, they turn the sewage into water, and they pipe that through everything. But they're pumping it with chlorine. They're pumping it with in bigger metropolitan areas with soda ash, to quote unquote keep the pipes from corroding. Small well systems. They're using um, poly. Dang it, what's it called? Anyways, that's a poly something, but it's basically dish soap that they're putting into the water just for lubrication and non-corrosive. And then you get into, you when you turn on the water and you take it, you can smell the chlorine in the
Mhm.
water, right? So
That's
you
right.
have to let it sit if you're going to drink it out of the tap. But the whole process that people are missing is that we're supposed to be getting water from fresh sources, not recycled water. We're supposed to let water go through the process and then let it be recycled, get rainwater into lakes and ponds and all that stuff, and down the rivers and all that. What have you found your best source of fresh water is for you personally?
Definitely invest in some kind of home filtration system,
Mm,
reverse osmosis, taking out heavy metals if possible.
yep.
The latest studies are showing that tap water, depending on where you live, find out the water testing systems they have in your municipality to find out exactly what's in there. And so, depending on where you live, sometimes tap water is better than bottled water because of the microplastics.
Right.
So definitely you have to invest in some kind of home filtration system, reverse osmosis preferably. There are different companies that have them that are, fairly inexpensive and reliable with testing themselves.
Sure. Well, on a plant-based diet, when people are worried about getting, high protein intake and stuff like that, what is there a specific group of vegetables that you would recommend that have a higher content of protein than others?
Beans.
Beans,
Beans,
very good.
beans, lentils. All vegetables contain a certain amount of protein, but
Right.
according to Dr. Furman, for health we should follow his diet, which the acronym is G-BOMBS: greens, beans, onions, mushrooms, garlic, um, nuts, seeds, and berries.
Yeah. Okay.
And so the best source are beans and lentils, but they have to be soaked overnight before you cook them
Right.
because of the high phytate content.
Can
But
you say that
definitely
one more time? What's it called?
phytates, Phytates.
Okay.
It's a it's a coating on the beans and the lentils that makes it harder for us to digest.
Well, I did not know that's why we soaked beans. I thought we just soaked them so they cook faster.
Well, they do that too. So,
Well,
excuse me.
that's great. What's your opinion on rice? Speaking of beans, because a lot of
Arsenic,
people
big time arsenic.
really.
Yes,
So is that
Ar-
naturally occurring in it, or is it
yes.
just because they bleach it?
No, it's naturally occurring in it.
Wow.
Arsenic and cadmium. So they say that you can soak your rice, then cook it, drain off that water, and continue cooking it. It will remove some of it, but I don't know. I haven't done enough research on that.
Wow. I'm gonna have to look into that myself because I like rice too. I thought, hey, rice and beans, that's a pretty good basic diet. But
Yeah.
having lost, I mean, just from my personal experience, I totally agree with getting into the veggie based. I personally do like to have a liver um, supplement and a liver meal at least once a week for protein for myself and for my organs. But um, I do a very, very high fruit, bananas, apples, when they're available, berries, that kind of stuff, avocados, um, to keep it simple as far as that goes. And I've lost over 100 pounds over the last year and a half or so. And it's, made a big change in the way that I feel. I have more energy. I'm walking, a couple miles a day. How does, what do you feel once you change your diet? Like, say somebody's going to be new to it, how may that affect them as an individual? Uh, Based on, okay, I'm used to eating McDonald's in the morning, and then I cook a good meal at night. What would you recommend as far as just to fully change over to that fresh schedule?
Get a partner or get your family involved or try it for 1 day a week for a month and
Hmm.
then maybe gradually increase to 3 days and then 5, and then see how it goes. So you don't have to do it cold turkey,
Right.
but definitely, start small. And if you can get a partner, get your family involved, it'll make it a little easier. Or your place
Very
of
good.
work. Say, let's go on a plant-based diet for a week, and everybody, you know, commit to doing it. Strengthen numbers. You know,
Right.
for support. And then just going back to the protein, another good source of protein is quinoa.
Quinoa. Yeah.
And again, soak it overnight and then cook it. But
Okay.
whenever you soak your beans or lentils, or your quinoa, that soak drain that water, rinse, and then proceed to do what you were going to do with it.
Okay. All right. Well, that makes perfect sense. I mean, no matter what food that we're getting second or third party probably should be washed or rinsed anyways,
That's right.
because you never know what might have happened along the process. And most of it's bagged in plastic anyways, so you want to wash it. Probably in a metal strainer. I'm assuming would be the best
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
solution,
Yeah,
not a
and then
plastic strainer.
also a really great site is ewg.org, which stands for Environmental Working Group, and they have every year an updated Dirty Dozen Healthy 15, where they have done research on the healthiest fruits and vegetables and the ones that are the most toxic. So the Dirty Dozen are the ones that you have to definitely buy organic, and the Healthy 15, you can just buy them conventionally grown. So,
Oh, it's fascinating. I'm gonna have to definitely check that out.
and unfortunately, this year, um, peaches, pears, grapes, cherries, apples are on the Dirty Dozen list. So they have to
No.
be consumed organic, yes. And I live in Ontario, where the farmers, there's an abundance of peaches, pears, not grapes, cherries, blueberries, apples in, August, September, October. And I'd love to feast on them, but they all have to be organic, so it's a little more cost restrictive.
Oh man, that's crazy. Because growing up, they always used to say an apple a day keeps the doctor away.
Well, yeah,
So, that's been a big part of my, weight loss routine. But knowing that it's better to go organic right now with apples, that's
yeah,
a good
that's
thing to
right.
know. I mean,
Yeah,
it's not that much more. And,
no,
if you're really trying to take it apples to apples, you can get a bag of apples for probably $1.50 more if they're organic here where I'm
yeah,
at.
that's right, exactly.
And so, you take that $1.50. Well, also, if you're over consuming food, well, now you can reduce your food, reduce your appetite, and get yourself to a healthy body weight. So where you're craving less of those sugars, even natural sugars, you still crave. I crave a banana every now and then, an apple every now and again. The healthy fats of an avocado I crave occasionally. But I listen to my body too. It's like, hey, what are you craving today? And then moving on from there is to, how am I going to structure my day? Nuts, and that kind of stuff. Um, like protein bars that are made of nuts that don't have sugar, but they're congealed with honey. That kind of stuff. Um, what are your thoughts on honey, by the way?
Absolutely, honey is a good alternative to a good sweetener. Um, Definitely, try to get them from the farmers directly,
Hmm.
so less processing, but definitely a healthy choice.
Yeah,
Manuka
raw.
honey, yeah, raw honey,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah, I totally agree with that. Well, it keeps longer too. But if you're only buying it for a certain amount of use, you're going to use it before it starts to crystallize, anyways. And if you're buying it, portion it according to your daily use. I think would be the message on that one. Um, so let's go back to the mentoring right now. Tell us where people can reach you and what kinds of programs you offer.
LinkedIn is my best source, my best go-to. I do post a resilient joy boost, a short one minute video, both on LinkedIn and on Facebook, where I give a little sort of nugget of how you can practice more resilience or more joy, not just for yourself but for other people. That's a good source. And this my resilient I've got a resilient mentoring program and a cancer resilient program as well. So they're in both independent. They're 8 weeks long, and go to LinkedIn or Facebook because I've posted where you can find more information. And I've posted a few extra videos today talking about the epidemic of the upcoming epidemic of cancer, because
Mhm.
it is coming that way. We've got so many microplastics, EMFs, parasites, mold, toxic food, toxic air, microplastics, and people aren't aware of most of these things, and they're polluting the air we breathe, the food we eat, what we inhale, and it's pretty scary. The numbers are really rising in cancer.
Yeah.
It's horrific.
Yeah. Conspiracy no more.
Mhm. That's right.
And thank God for the literally for the information age, because that was one of the big things that I looked at is like, man, between the air and the water and the food sources, how are we supposed to exist, in this moment outside of the system? And so I too have been working on programs and networking with people about that same thing. I'm so blessed, Alexi, to have you on. Um, is there anything more that you want to add to this at all?
Well, like they say, let food be your medicine and medicine your food.
Yeah.
And again, another famous quote is, if you think you can, you're right. If you think you can't, you're also right. So if you're diagnosed with cancer or a family member, the resilience skills are really important, because if you think you're going to beat it, you will beat it.
Yeah.
And the same thing that everybody knows somebody whose life has been touched by cancer, whether it's a family member, a relative, a colleague, and then maybe you'd be interested in investing in taking my cancer program for yourself, just as a preventative. And then you can share the knowledge that you learned with family members and colleagues. It's like they say, what goes around comes around. So if you share all this with other people, it's going to cement your belief system, and help other people prevent possible cancer in the future.
Yeah. And that's huge because I've had many family members. It's like very hereditary in my family. And I actually had an instance where I got these plaques on my legs, that probably, I didn't have them tested for cancer, but most likely were cancer. And when I was like, I had one of them turned to skin infection that went through my whole leg, and I had necrosis. Well, what did they treat me with? Cancer um, medicines,
Mm,
cancer antibiotics, right? So that went away, cured it. They all went away. So whatever they used worked, but it also caused organ damage along the way, right?
mm,
So I started having elevated kidney and liver issues after that, and after that, and after that. So I started looking for more natural ways to tend to those. Well, I found a secret because they started coming back on my feet, and so um, I've made a habit over the last couple of years is to be in the sun as much as I can, not
mm,
to the point of getting burnt or blistered or whatever, but get out there so that your melatonin absorbs it. You get the is it melatonin?
vitamin
Is that
D.
the right? Yeah, but it absorbs it and it actually changes to a darker shade, right?
Hmm.
And I'm Irish German, so I'm like white, but I have tan legs, I have tan arms, and the reason for that is because even if it's cold out, I will bundle up, but I'll have my legs exposed to get that sun. When these plaques started coming back on my feet only, but they were all the way up to my knees, I thought to myself, well, the sun isn't the problem. The sun is not causing this issue. So I went one day, it was like 85 degrees out, and I'm like, "Pfft, I'm just going to do an experiment. If it fails, it fails. I'll go see a doctor." But I put my feet right out in the sunshine and intentionally burned them. Like it hurt. I let them blister up, but it only blistered up where the plaques were, by the way. So it was detoxifying them, and then I treated them with tea tree oil directly on the surface,
Mm,
all of them. Within 5 days, they were gone,
mm,
gone. And so, yeah, I'm totally about the naturopathic. All these myths that we're being told, the sun causes cancer. No, it doesn't. It heals you. God wouldn't have put it there to kill us. He put it there for our use and our knowledge and our health and well being. And that's my personal opinion, my personal experience. So I love what you're doing, Alexi. Is there anything you want to add to that? Is there any other ways you want to tell people that how they can contact you?
Well, like I said, the best way is on LinkedIn, and I watch the videos that I've been posting. If I post them on LinkedIn, I'll also post them on Facebook. So in either places, and most of them have a message at the end on how you can contact me, whether it's through LinkedIn, whether it's an email, whether it's booking a call. So there's lots of ways to do it. And
Very good.
I'm the only Alexi Bracey around, so you won't have problems finding me.
That's very good. Yeah, that's awesome. Alexi, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I'd love to have you back for another show. Honestly, I think that we could expand on a lot of this conversation. If I had, especially after having talking to you, I think I'll have some really good notes coming into the next conversation to expand on this. So, in the meantime, God bless you. For all the people out there, again, go to World of Pets podcast. That's where we are, and go to World of Ability podcast on YouTube to support Emily, our engineer, and our sponsor, Debbie Hayes at debspets.com, DEBSPETS.com. And with that, I'm going to say I love you all, and I'll see you next time.
All right.
You have a blessed night. Thanks, Alessi.
Thank you.
All right, bye.
Bye.